There's a quiet mistake many people make, a mistake that feels safe but slowly steals their future. They believe saving money is the answer. They believe the more they keep, the safer they are. But what if the real danger is not losing money, but letting it sit still? This is the story of a man who spent years trying to protect his life, until he realized he was actually shrinking it. In a small town near a dusty road, there lived a man named Thomas. Thomas was not a bad man. He did not drink, he did not gamble, he did not waste money. In fact, he was known as the most careful man in the town. Every coin he earned, he saved. Every expense he reduced. Every desire he delayed. If I save enough, he often said, one day I will be safe. Safe. That word became his entire life. Thomas worked as a repairman. He fixed broken chairs, leaking roofs, and old doors. His hands were strong, his skills were good, but his life never changed. Every evening he came home tired. His wife cooked simple meals. His son sat quietly at the table. Sometimes there was enough food, sometimes there was not. But Thomas always did the same thing. He took a few coins, walked to his room, and dropped them into a metal box. Clink, clink, clink. That sound gave him comfort. That sound told him, I am doing the right thing. Years passed. The box became heavier, but his life did not. The roof still leaked. The walls were still cracked. The meals were still small. One evening, his son asked Dad, when will things get better? Thomas smiled gently. Soon, but even he did not believe that anymore. One night, something changed. It was cold. The wind came through the broken window. The house was quiet. Thomas opened his metal box. Inside were years of saving, coins, notes, care, sacrifice. He stared at it for a long time. Then he whispered, if I have so much, why do I still feel poor? He had no answer. The next day, something unexpected happened. Thomas met an old man at the market. The man was selling eggs, but what was strange was not the eggs. It was his energy. He looked calm, relaxed, almost free. Thomas watched him for a while. Customers came and went. The man smiled, talked, and counted money with ease. Not stress, not fear, ease. Thomas finally walked closer. How long have you been doing this? He asked. The old man smiled. Not long. Thomas frowned. But you look comfortable. The old man laughed softly. That is because I stopped trying to save my life. Thomas was confused. What do you mean? The old man picked up an egg. Tell me, what happens if I keep this egg in a box? It stays the same, Thomas said. Or it rots. The old man nodded. And what happens if I let it become something else? Thomas paused. It becomes a chicken. And then more eggs. The old man looked at him directly. So why are you treating your money like a dead egg? Those words hit Thomas deeply. That night he could not sleep. For the first time in years he felt something unfamiliar. Not fear, not safety, but possibility. The next morning Thomas did something he had never done before. He opened his metal box, and instead of adding money, he took money out. His hands trembled. His heart beat fast. Every voice in his head screamed, don't do it. You will lose everything. Be careful. But another voice, quieter, said, or maybe you will finally start. He walked to the market. He bought 3 chickens. Not strong ones, not beautiful ones. Just 3 small, ordinary chickens. People laughed. After all these years of saving, this is what you do. Thomas said nothing. For the first time, he was not trying to be right. He was trying to change. The first week was slow, very slow. 1 egg, then none, then one again. His wife looked worried. "Are you sure this is a good idea?" Thomas did not answer immediately, because he was not sure. But he said one thing: "It is better than doing nothing." Days passed. Then something small happened. 2 eggs, then 3, then 4. It was not much, but it was movement. And movement changes everything. Thomas did something new. He started writing every egg, every sale, every coin, not to control, but to understand. Weeks turned into months. 3 chickens became 5. 5 became 8. 8 became 15. The small space behind his house became alive, with sound, with movement, with life. His son smiled more. His wife cooked better meals. The house slowly changed. Not suddenly, but steadily. One afternoon, Thomas stood outside holding an egg. He remembered the metal box, the years of saving, the fear, the waiting, the someday. Then he looked at the egg in his hand, and he smiled. That evening his son asked Dad, "Are we rich now?" Thomas laughed softly. "No." "Then why do you look happy?" Thomas sat down next to him and said, "Because now our money is working." Years later, Thomas no longer fixed broken things for others. He built something of his own. He had more chickens, more products, more income. But more importantly, he had a different mindset. One day someone asked him, "What is the secret to your success?" Thomas did not talk about hard work. He did not talk about luck. He simply said, "There are 2 kinds of money, the money that sleeps and the money that grows." Most people protect sleeping money, but the ones who change their lives, he paused, they wake it up. And today I want to ask you something. Right now, is your money sleeping or growing? Because the truth is simple. Safety is not found in holding tightly. Growth is found in letting something begin, even if it is small, even if it is slow, even if it feels uncertain. Because one day, you will look at your life and ask, did I protect what I had, or did I grow what I could become? If this story speaks to you, write one word in the comments: grow. And remember, you don't need more money to start. You need the courage to stop letting it sleep.